You can see Vladi behind me doing the French technique. I'm going to go join him and let's see how this is done. So this technique looks awful familiar to some of the stuff I've seen in Europe. This is what we know as the French roll, right?
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about what you need to do with the French roll.
You know, like normal simple roll cast, but it must be a little bit faster than current, like in my method. Very similar.
So it's similar to Polish nymphing.
Yeah, different is only that we fish with a long line, and this method, you know, French guy fish always upstream, never this side only upstream. But
so that's unique to the French nymphing technique.
Yeah.
Interesting. Now, how long is this leader that you're using?
Leader is almost two length of my rod.
18 feet.
18 feet.
Really, that's a long leader, and you handle it pretty well. Is it pretty easy to roll over?
Much easier. Very easy, you know.
I noticed, like in the Spanish nymphing technique, that there's some colored monofilament in there. Is that colored?
That's very important. There's colored monofilament. Just in the middle, you know, between, I should say, two sections, yeah? Then you see all the time where is your nymph, you know, like this.
So it's a strike indicator.
Yeah, like strike indicator. Oh.
How many nymphs do you usually fish with this technique?
Two. Of course, the guys use 3, but not that heavy. The French guys use not that heavy nymph, only just, you know, medium, like maybe half gram, like something like that.
I see. So the nymphs traditionally are smaller and lighter than with Polish nymphing.
That's true.
Now, what's the kind of the key point? How are you trying to excite the fish to take the fly?
All the time, you know, all the time the colored monofill, and you exactly see when the fish touch your fly, you see the monofill stop, like indicator. But they use fluorescent color of the monofill, and you see them, you know, maybe 10, 15 meters is no problem, or like you see. Hop.
I noticed you're making a lot of casts with this technique.
Yeah.
Is that key to doing this?
Yes. This is technique of a million cast almost.
And the flies don't seem to be dead drifting.
No.
They're moving. Is that right?
Yeah, that's moving.
From what I've learned about the French technique in fishing over in Europe, I hear that that's what gets the fish to grab the fly. Yeah. They see it moving, and it's actually kind of almost like a wet fly situation.
Yeah, almost all flies is under the surface. Okay. Oh.
Now, how far can you fish with this technique away from you effectively?
I think 20.
Probably 20, 30 feet?
20, 30 feet.
Okay, because you got to roll it over, right? Yeah. And you got to stay in contact with it.
But if you stay in the bushes, and this French roll cast is very useful because you'll see.
Is that one of the similarities between Polish nymphing and Spanish nymphing, that you got to stay in contact with the flies?
Yes, but
I've noticed that.
I feel in Polish touch of the fish in my finger, but here all the time you must watching those two colored monofill.
Oh, so like Spanish nymphing, this is sight and not feel, right? It's all sight. Okay.
Speed is the same, you know, like. You see the white bubbles, white plumes, will be a little bit faster than the white plumes, you know, like in Polish method.
So you're leading the fly again, just like all these European techniques that we've talked about.
Oh, like this. You see the monofill? Oh, you can watch all the time the monofill. You see, if they stop, okay. You go there.
I see. It's moving a little bit faster than the bubbles. That's a good tip. I'll remember that.
Yeah, I see.
So it's not just dead drifting. Now, how far do the flies sink? Does that depend on how heavy a flies you use?
Yes. That's sometimes I use very light nymphs, little.
And is that when the trout are coming up to take it?
All the time.
Okay. It's amazing. You're moving through the water, just going bam, bam,
No
bam,
hanging,
bam, bam.
No nothing, you know, no hanging all the time. Like,
It's almost
and
like
they
you're
fish,
just.
you know, all wide of the river. Like maybe they start in that place here, next cast almost in the same place, and you know, like another cast, you know, all land of the all white, you know, of the river. Yeah?
Right.
And almost every single centimeter, the flies penetrate, you know, the surface. Like this.
Now, what rod do you prefer for this French technique? How long, and is it stiff or soft or?
French, a little bit, you know, the rods they are looking for 12 feet, 11 feet.
So wow, a 12-foot rod. Some of the French guys use. Can you use a 9-foot rod for this?
Yeah.
All right.
Change also line. They use now long rod, line number 3, something like that. A very very fast rod.
I see. So they go down.
Yeah.
They go down a line length.
Yeah.
Or I mean a line weight. I'm sorry. And is it a double taper or weight forward?
Weight forward.
It's a weight forward. Okay.
I can say.
And then you just kind of work your way up the.
Where is the fish?
The riffle. I don't know. I don't know that when the French do this, they seem to always have fish on the end of the line. There are a few bugs coming off.
Yeah, a few bugs now.
Can you use this technique in kind of, you know, pocket water or rapids or things like that?
Come to pocket here, like here, and you know, like maybe here also.
I noticed that's kind of the nice thing about the.
Always drift down. Yeah.
The nice thing about this technique is it's really versatile. You know, you can cover a lot of different types of water without changing your leader, and you can move through the water pretty effectively.
To the pocket, you can fish shorter line, like maybe like this, and same speed, like and again, yeah, same speed. You can cast to pocket, you know, down to up, and all that. Yeah.
It's a great technique.
Yeah.
Is it hard to learn to get to that kind of pick it up and flip it over? I know it looks a lot like a roll cast. That's why we call it the French roll.
It's like twice here. I see, like maybe spay like this. You know.
Yeah, it looks like you're creating a D loop, like in a spay cast.
Again, here we go.
Definitely a D loop.
See? Oh.
Yeah, no, that looks good. So
very useful, very useful. And again, we go right, left, and hop. See, and same speed, faster than the bubbles. And then we can just like this, near the bank.
It's a good looking spot of water.
Yeah.
So Vladi, since there's a difference between a roll cast, straight roll cast, and a French roll cast, show me the difference. Can I see a roll cast and then also the French technique?
Okay, this is a simple roll cast.
Okay, straight roll cast.
You can come very slow, almost stop, and then you cast.
I see.
Yeah? And now the French come here and make like spay, and again.
I see. So what you're doing is bringing the line back through here?
They use like this because sometimes almost always they fish in a very narrow streams.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, then if you make like this, you come easily to, you know, nearby you with line.
Right, you can load the line that way. I see. So if you're out here in a big kind of wide open stretch, you can just create a D loop and fire it out there. I see.
Roll casts they use when they have, you know, kind of not easy water, like, you know, bushes on your back, something like that.
Right.
Narrow.
I've seen a lot of the French team members in tight little competition areas using this technique.
Almost they fish, you know, but almost short cast and a very fast speed. That's the difference. Is only, I think, line, the length of the line, because they cast with a very long line. Watching, you know, the color monofield.
Yeah, no, what do you think though? What's your opinion? Why is this so much more effective than some of the other techniques?
Times the fish take the fly, you know, under the surface, and that is good. That is more effective. You know.
So the movement of the flies. Yeah. Okay, and also
if you're competing, you know, like in competition, such fish is okay. You know.
Right. So this technique.
Every fish are good.
Yeah. Yeah. So this technique will bring fish to the surface and
bring
a lot of little fish like this.
A lot of little fish, and then you can count this fish, you know, to your score.
I see why this is so effective. Also the flies are moving and you're in contact with them. It's not dead drift.
Contact, yeah. It's not dead drift. You have all the time contact with the flies. Yes, good. Let him go first.
Then you can go over the other shoulder. I noticed that you can do that. If I weren't standing here, you can go over the other shoulder too, right? Over the in case there's some brush or other things around you.
Try, huh? A little bit.
Sure. I gotta watch that tree. Oops, a little heavier than I thought. I was actually using this technique a little bit today.
Right. Good. I think you saw a couple. You saw the French guys like Said, like Jacques. Watch tree.
Woo! A little close to that tree. If we could just get a fish to grab this. Notice that almost all the French guys have this technique just dialed in.
This technique comes from the guys who compete in competition, in championship.
So Vladi, let's recap some of the interesting characteristics of the French roll or the French nymphing technique. Well, first of all, you're in full contact with the flies. You're doing what looks like a roll cast, but slightly different. It kind of has a D loop, and it looks like a spay cast a little bit more to me. The next thing is, as soon as those flies land, it seems to me, from the way that you're bringing them in, you're moving them instantly, and those flies are actually moving toward the surface. Yeah. Kind of simulates the rise form. Is that right?
Yes, that's right.
Okay. And
characteristic of this fishing.
Okay, the next thing that I noticed also was that it's more sight than feel. Polish nymphing is feel, the French roll is sight.
Yeah, and I move upstream all the time.
Right, you're moving along. Okay, good. Well, thanks for showing me this technique. Well, Vladi, now that we fished that run with the French roll technique, let's take a look at some of the equipment that's needed for the French roll. I noticed that you use a pretty long rod. What is that, a 9.5 foot rod?
9.5 foot rod.
Okay, could you use a 10-foot rod?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, and then the fly line is a what again? Yeah. What type of fly line?
Number 5.
Is it a weight forward?
Weight forward.
Okay. Now, help me out with this leader a little bit here. I noticed that you have, what, you have a tapered?
Yeah.
Is it monofilament?
Tapered monofilament, yeah.
Okay, this looks like probably about...
And then we are coming to...
About a 12-foot what?
Yeah,
4X?
Foot, yeah, 4X. And then we are coming to the place.
Oh, this is interesting.
Where is the key to the French fishing?
Okay, this is the key. This is similar to the Spanish technique. Yeah, they've got colored monofilament. Yeah. Let's see, it looks like you've attached these barrel blood knots. Is that right? Blood knots? Okay, this is really good for visibility. I can see that. And this is what, 2 feet maybe?
2 feet.
Okay.
Yeah, 2 feet, almost 2 feet.
Then you attach with a blood knot to the straight
3X.
monofilament.
Monofilament.
Okay.
3X.
Oh, okay. And then I see that it looks like you've just got what's similar to Polish nymphing and Spanish nymphing. You got a dropper, and an anchor fly, which is much lighter in this situation. How long is the leader total in length?
Total is about 14 feet.
Okay, 14 feet. So it's kind of a long leader.
Yeah.
All right. Well, now we're all set. Now we can build this leader. We can get out there and practice this awesome new technique.
Of course.
All right.
Okay.